Correspondent is outside the Chabane family home in Waterkloof, east of Pretoria. Very good morning to you, Mbeje.
A very good morning to you, Eben.
Mzondile, it must be a somber mood where you are right now, but I understand the president has arrived. Just give us a little bit of detail.
Indeed, Eben, it's a very somber mood. The head of state, President Jacob Zuma, has just arrived, and he has just walked inside to comfort the family. And there is also a number of other ministers as well who have joined him, and then they've also arrived to make sure that they pay their last respects and they can comfort the family. You would know that yesterday government announced that Minister Chabane, as the serving minister, will be afforded a special official funeral. And it's in honor of what Minister has done. Earlier on, we spoke to Deputy Minister in his office, Minister Ayanda Dlodlo, who said Minister Chabane will be sorely missed for his contribution to the public service. But they have no choice. They have to pick up the spear because the nation expects that they deliver for them as Chabane wanted them to do.
The community of the Bapalaborwa municipality, they've really idolized this Minister Collins Chabane in that part of the country. Tell us a little bit about the work that is done in that community, specifically in recent times.
Eben, you'd know that Minister Chabane is a very humble minister, and he is described as a servant of the people. He's one of those people who are very much involved in the communities. One of the things perhaps you'd remember about him is that other than being a minister, he actually is also a musician. When he had time, he would then sing with his people, he would be with his people, and then people in that way were able to relate to him, because here was a person they found that it's easy to work with. I mean, sometimes, you know, other people, when they hold high office, it becomes very, very difficult to relate with them. If people have issues, you would even remember with the issue of Malamulele, at some point, they were the ministers who went to the people to say, this thing is being addressed. But of course, you know, the tempers were at a boiling point at the time. So a certain way had to be found to deal with those issues. But what I can say is that Minister Chabane is very well known throughout the country, in his communities, for his work, for maintaining the roots. Even when he met his last hour, this is the minister who had gone to his village to be with his people to bury the local chief. Eben, what more can you really want as evidence that this was the minister who was still connected with his people?
Mzondile, let's just go back to the accident. Do we have any updates as to what the process and procedures that we're following with regards to the accident?
As you know, Eben, that the accident happened in the early hours of Sunday morning, and then the investigations are obviously underway. Of course, there would be preliminary findings in terms of what could have happened. I think it's common cause that the truck that was traveling the same direction with the car of Minister Chabane turned, and then the car of Minister Chabane then hit that truck, so resulting in this kind of accident. So you know that the forensics yesterday, for example, so they cordoned off the area because they wanted to pick up whatever little evidence is there to be able to piece the pieces together to say what exactly transpired. Yes, it's common cause that it was a car hitting the truck, but of course you would need the thorough investigations. Currently, that is what is underway. You would know that the driver of the truck was actually found to be, according to the police, not sober, so which means there was a situation of drunken driving there. And this driver, we are told, has also outstanding cases relating to the same offences. And there is actually one here in Gauteng at Ivory Park relating to the same situation, which has not been finalized. And the details will start emerging when he makes an appearance tomorrow at the Polokwane Magistrate Court. You know that he's scheduled to appear there tomorrow.
Mzondile, in conclusion, I know it's a little bit early in the week, but we know it's going to be a special official funeral. Do we have time frames as to how matters will proceed this week?
What I can say, Eben, is that ordinarily the funerals of this nature take place on weekends. If you look at the weekend that we are going to, it's quite a packed weekend in terms of the programs, in terms of what's going to be happening. On Saturday, for example, is the 21st, and that is the Human Rights Day. And you know, there's a lot of activities planned throughout the country for that kind of occasion. And then on the 22nd is the reburial of JP Marx. You know that JP Marx mortal remains were repatriated from Russia together with those of Moses Kotane, who was reburied last week at Bella in the northwest. So what is happening on the 22nd on Sunday is that those of JP Marx will be then reburied. So given that this weekend appears to be very packed in terms of the program of what we know, it's very curious really to know when exactly perhaps this funeral will be. I won't be surprised, Eben, if a date which is midweek is actually announced, because waiting, for example, for next week may be a bit too far, maybe for the families. But all that process will culminate into a decision that will be arrived at after consultations between the family and government. So, as you know, if it's special official funeral, the government there takes an active role. So the government, as Minister Hadebe indicated yesterday, they'll be able to come to us and indicate what is happening. Now, they are allowing the family to grieve, and then they are comforting the family, whilst in the meantime they are busy with those logistics. So I hope perhaps today or even tomorrow we may have an idea of when this will happen.
Thank you very much, Zoya. That's our presidential correspondent, Mzondile Mbeje, who is outside the Chabane family house in Waterkloof, Pretoria, where the president has just arrived there to comfort the family after this stunning loss they suffered over the weekend. Of course, Public Service and Administration Minister Collins Chabane died tragically in the early hours of Sunday morning in an accident on the N1 highway just outside of Polokwane. But let's have a look at